Hello, this is a video teaching you how to find any note on your dulcimer. So the notes I am not including in this exercise are the extra notes that our builders give us that are pretty much at the extremes of our instrument. I sort of call it in the weeds, right? So the notes sometimes included at the top of the bass bridge that are not within our regular diatonic scales. Sometimes extra notes on the right side of the treble bridge. Sometimes you may have an extra little bridge, as I do here. You can see it off the corner of your screen. And of course, I have a super bass bridge, which has different notes. So what I am talking about in this exercise are all of the notes that are included in our box scales. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you understand what I'm talking about with these box scales. So the best thing you can do right off the bat is to learn these marked courses. And there are several videos that I have. One for learning these marked courses, how do you learn them and really own that knowledge. And then what I call the buddy notes, which is the half-step relationship, which happens to be directly under each marked course. And again, there is a video about learning your buddy notes on my YouTube page, so you can check those out. So once you've learned those, come back and learn from this video, which uses all of that information. So when we are looking for any note on our dulcimer, what we do first is ask ourselves, do we have that note on a marked course? So for example, let's say we're looking for the note E, and this is a 1617 hammered dulcimer. So if you have one of the larger instruments that has at least 5 marked courses here, if you have 5 marked courses, this bottom one is the E. If you have a bigger instrument, of course, it's going to change where that is. If you have a smaller one, you will not have that portion of the instrument at all. So we have the E's. So we ask ourselves, we're looking for E's only. Do I have any marked E's? And the answer is yes, I have one. So I'll play that. So there's my E there. Now what I want to do is this is the note I'm looking for. This is my E, okay? And I'm going to consider what is on either side of that E. So we're going to call those two notes reference notes. So below an E in the musical alphabet is a D, some kind of a D, and above it is some kind of an F. Right? So we're not going to say an F sharp or anything like that, some kind of an F. So we're looking for the E. We only ever play the E's. We don't play the reference notes. The way I like to think of these notes is if someone was telling you directions and they said, go up at the red barn, you're going to take a left just before the barn. You wouldn't need to actually drive into the barn. You see the barn, you say, there's my reference, right? There's my reference, and you see the barn, you turn left, right? So these reference notes are visual cues. They are not to be played. The only note we play is the note that we're actively searching for, which is E in this case. So we asked ourselves, do I have any marked E's? The answer was, on this side of the size instrument, yes, I have one marked E. Then you ask yourself, what is below an E? Some kind of a D. Do I have any marked D's? Yes, I have 3 marked D's. So I would say I have 3 E's above my marked D's, and here they are. You can play them like this. So I'm just playing the bottom 2 and the top 2. So you notice I keep articulating in terms of the marked course. I have 1 marked E. I have 3 E's above my 3 marked D's. Now the other reference note was the F. So I asked myself, do I have any marked F's? The answer is yes, I have 2 marked F's. So the E is directly below that. So I would say I have 2 E's below my marked F. And here's my F, so here are my E's. And then my top note is also an E. So I just have to know that going up. So I have, in total, 1 marked E, 3 E's above my marked D's, 2 E's below my marked F. So that's 1, 4, 6, and my highest note is an E, so that's 7. So I have 7 E's in total. And when I'm saying them, I'm always referring to those marked courses. We want to coalesce all that information, bring it together. I like to say learning music is like a big bunch of tangled yarn. And first you have to just sort of sort the yarn and make it neat and sort of into groups. And then you can begin to braid it. And that's what we're doing here. We're taking the work we did with the marked courses, the work we did with the buddy notes, and also knowing, for example, about this G breaking line, which I mentioned in several videos. The G breaking line is shows us that below these 3 marked G's, all of our regular sharps are located. So again, underneath each marked course below these marked G's, we have a sharp. So for example, F sharp G, C sharp D, G sharp A, D sharp E. Same thing on the bass bridge, F sharp G, right? So there's our G breaking line. Above it, we have our natural half steps, our EF and BC. We also have our 1 flat. Now, some of you are going to say, but Tina, B flat is the same as A sharp. Yes, that is absolutely true. But in this key, the key of F, it does not function as an A sharp. You wouldn't say the key is F, G, A sharp, C, D, E, F. That doesn't make any sense. So you would say F, G, A, B flat. So in this key, the key of F, it functions as a flat, to B flat. So all of our sharps are located below this G breaking line. Now let's look for another note. Let's look for F sharp. Okay, so we know from what I just said, we're not going to have sharps up here, right? We know that. We can just sort of discount those. And again, we're not talking about the ones that are in the weeds. You may have another F sharp. It would be a little unlikely, but we're not talking about the ones that are in the weeds, just the regular scales. So we know that all the F sharps are going to be located here. So the first question we ask ourselves is, do I have any marked F sharps? And the answer is no, right? We have 2 Fs, but F and F sharp are totally different note. Here's the F sharp we're looking for. Here's an F natural. So we have to be very specific in our speech. We're looking for F sharps. So we have no marked F sharps. So then we ask ourselves, well, what's on either side of an F sharp? And we say some kind of an E and some kind of a G, right? So then we ask ourselves, do we have any marked E's? We already know that. So the answer is yes. And our F sharp is located directly above it, E, F sharp. There's our F sharp. Now this is unless you have a bigger instrument, this is the only sharp that is located above a marked course. Let me say that again. All the other sharps are located directly below a marked course, every single one of them, okay? But this, in the key of A, we have 3 sharps, and so that's located off of a marked course. So here's our F sharp. So we looked for E's, marked E's, we found 1, and we have an F sharp above it. Then on the other side of an F sharp is some kind of a G. Do we have any marked G's? The answer is yes. And how many? We have 3. So we have 3 F sharps below our 3 marked G's. So that's 4 in total, 3 below our marked G's and 1 above our marked E. And again, the verbal articulation of its relationship to the marked course is what creates deeper learning, okay? So make sure you're doing all of that verbal articulation. All right, now let's do one more note. So if we were looking, let's look for the note G. Okay, it's pretty easy one. So we say we're looking for G. Do we have any marked G's? The answer is yes. How many? 3. We have 3 marked G's. So I play my 3 marked G's. Then we say, well, what's on the other side of a G? Well, some kind of an F is below it, and some kind of an A is above it. So we ask ourselves, do we have any marked F's? And the answer is yes, we have 2. So our G's would be right above. Now, this is where you really have to know your instrument. On my instrument, yes, this is a G. But my builder has put a little extra bridge in, so this can be a G sharp. It gives me more flexibility. We're not looking for G sharp, so I have to know that and just not play that. So I do have a G above my marked F. You may very well have two Gs. You may very well have a G there. So you just have to figure that out. If you don't have like a note map, like a sheet, you can listen, and does it sound like this? Sorry, it's a little out of tune there. Or does it sound like this? Right? Those are obviously two different notes. All right. Now, so we asked ourselves, do we have any marked G's? Yes, we have 3. We played them. Here's my G above my marked F. Okay, so we've got that one. So F, G. What's above a G? Some kind of an A. Now this is where this conversation we just had about the breaking line comes in. We ask ourselves, do we have any marked A's? And the answer is yes, we have 2. So the G's would be located below them. But look at this. What do we know about marked courses below the G breaking line, on or below it? We know that below each marked course will be a sharp. So here are my 2 A's. Those are definitely below that G breaking line. It's going to have G sharps below it and not G naturals. So if you keep that in mind, the G breaking line, what does it mean? What is the significance? It gets rid of a lot of floundering around, right? So again, braiding that information, like cleaning it up and braiding it. We've got to understand these concepts. So if you do this work in this way, do just a couple every day. Write it down in a notebook just so you know which ones you've done. And don't shy away from the sharps. Learn those marked courses first, learn those buddy notes first, and you're going to be in great shape. Thanks for watching. Take care. If you have any comments, please make sure to leave them.